Hey everybody, it's Gomelix, and welcome back to another premiere draft of Final Fantasy. Without further ado, let's get into the pack one. Pick one, a great rare here. Color restrictive rare here. You gotta be green, white, and blue, but green has a lot of good fixing. If we play that as one of the core colors alongside a green-white deck or a green-blue deck, we can easily splash in the third color. This card is really, really solid, even by itself. It's gonna draw you a card every time it attacks, or put a land from the top of your deck onto the battlefield every time it attacks. That's already a very, very reasonable card. But if you have a lot of other Chocobos, those are birds as well, and they'll trigger it as well. So you do preferably want to play green at the core. Green has the most cheap Chocobos that you can play, like a lot of 2-mana 2/2 Chocobos. And if you get those, then the turn you play this, you can get an immediate trigger off of it. That's the best way to do it. That way, even if your opponent has a removal spell to kill it, the turn after you've cast it, you still drew a card off of it. You still end up a card in that exchange. So big fan of Choco there. Great way to start this draft. Pick two, there are some great options. So Fat Chocobo is the most synergistic option, giving us two birds off of the one spell. The one slightly less synergistic aspect of it is that it comes onto the board on turn 5 after a turn 4 Choco, and in theory the best Chocobos to go with the Choco are the cheaper ones, the ones that cost 2 or 3. There's also Delivery Moogle, which is just a great card in general. 4-mana 3/2, draw your best 2-mana artifact out of your deck or your graveyard. So love that card. There's also Memories Returning, which is huge card draw. 4 mana to draw 3, essentially, and then you do it again with the flashback, but you always draw the best card out of those 5, out of your top 5, I should say. All of these are really awesome options. I'm just going to go Delivery Moogle. I just always love this card. But I think the other two are very, very reasonable options too. Pick number 3, we now have Magitech Infantry looking pretty nice. This is a great card to tutor off of your Delivery Moogle. It's a great card to draft as many copies as possible of, because then they tutor for each other, which is awesome. So I could go like Delivery Moogle, and then turn 5 I go play an infantry, search for another infantry that's 2/2/1s off of the one card. If I got enough copies, it plays really ridiculously well. I love it in the opening hand because you play it on 1, and then it gives you your 1 mana, your turn 1 play and your turn 3 play. It makes it really easy to hold up instants. I love Magitech Infantry. I think it's a deceptively good card. The cat is really nice as well in the equipment-based decks. But if we're going the Chocobo route here and going like green-white, I think the Delivery Moogle Magitech Infantry thing can still work out, but the cat is much less likely to. So I like Magitech Infantry here. Cornered by Black Mage is also a really good card that I should mention. It's just never going into the same deck as Choco. And Choco is a really good card, so I would like to try to take cards that could end up in the deck with it. So now there's T-Rexar for the best green card, or we just stick deep onto white here with Dwarven Castle Guard or Wall of Omens. Alternatively, we go off color for Dark Confidant. This is actually quite the double-edged sword in draft in a 1v1 format like this. Very, very painful. Does give you a lot of card draw, but you have to be a really aggressive deck to make the most of it. I think if I wanted to take a card that couldn't end up in the same deck as Choco, I would just take Thunder Magic here for really efficient removal. But I think like Wall of Omens is good enough to just stick deep to white here. Pick 5. Nothing in green. Nothing really in red. There's 1 Ice Magic Bounce in blue. 1 Paladin's Arms in white as the best 2 cards. Zidane, the Boros Uncommon's also pretty good, but can only play him obviously in Boros. Just take the Paladin's Arms here, stay deep on white. Pick 6, Fate of the Sun Crest is a reasonable white removal spell. We're deeper into that color than anything else, and I think it's probably the best card in this pack. This pack is pretty weak by now. On pick 6. Pick 7, White Mage's Staff, one of the best cards in the whole pack. Although Dragoon's Wyvern is also really good. Chocobo Kick is also solid green removal, where there's not a lot of that in the set. I mean, these 3 are all really awesome cards. I honestly am like so deep on white here. I kind of just want to keep taking the white spells here. I think Staff is just like a little worse than Kick and Wyvern. It's been a pretty big overperformer for me. So just a tiny hit in power level to know for sure we've got 1 color really locked in for us. Pick 8, Town Greeter's fine. Aerial Unit is fine. I think those are the best picks. Blue has seemed a little bit more open than green overall, but that was a kind of late Chocobo kick, a kind of late Town Greeter. This might actually be better. Alright, yeah. Garnet here. Lionheart and Syncopate are not bad either. But if we can go green-white Sagas, that's a pretty fun deck. Green-white Summons. Garnet's a great card. Cheap Lifelinker that gets bigger. Pick 10. Booty. Pick 11. We wield the cat, and the cat's actually going to be pretty good in here off of just the white cards alone at this point. It's Paladin's Arms, Staff, and Infantries we're going to be drafting more copies of. T-Rexar, pick 12. Okay, green was more open than I thought. We actually do get to go green, white, splash blue, maybe. Airship, pretty filler, probably getting cut. Pack 2, pick 1. Oof, Renoa. Renoa's pretty sweet. 5 mana, 4/4, and a 1/1, and when Renoa attacks, somebody gets +1/+1 for each creature you control. Really, really good card. The competition here is Magitech Infantry. If we don't get at least 2 Magitech Infantries, then the first one's not even playable. But God, Renoa is strong. It would hurt to pass Renoa and not wheel her. But I don't think we'll ever wheel the infantry because anybody playing white can draft this, whereas only the green-white players can take Renoa. The problem is that green is really good at splashing in this format, so there could be a lot of different green decks that can just splash in Renoa. She's strong enough to do that, so I just don't think she's coming back. I'm going to take Renoa here. Pack 2, pick 2. Dragoon's Lance is fantastic. Probably the best drop select equipment, at least at a lower rarity than rare, at uncommon. 2 mana, 2/1 flyer, you can move it around later. That's a very relevant ability to put on something else later. Put something in the sky and then buff it up with Renoa. Huge stuff. Love Dragoon's Lance. Happy to take it here. It's a great card to find off your delivery Moogle. Now we have a Fat Chocobo that plays well with Renoa, giving us multiple creatures on the board. Plays well with Garnet, being a Saga creature we can remove those lore counters from to keep it around, and plays well with Choco here. So if we draw the Choco later after we hit the Fat Chocobo, we can get some draws off that immediately. The cat's also good here, but again, we found some other synergies that make the Fat Chocobo better for this deck. Pick 4. I'm still really low on removal. I'm in the market for a Chocobo kick here. Our second non-creature card in the whole deck. Pick 5. Chocobo Racetrack's really slow, but it can be pretty strong over the course of a long game. Is there really any other option? Yeah, I'm tied enough to green. There's no way that I pivot off that and play like blue-white at the core for the sleep magic. The only other option really, I guess, is like Monk's Fist here. Just another card for delivery Moogle. Reasonable. Nah, that's probably Racetrack at that point. I also have a lot of other 5 mana cards. Pick 6. I mean, you can play like one copy of Airship Crash, so I guess I should have mentioned that too. But again, it's another super, super filler card. I'd rather just take a Monk's Fist for delivery Moogle. Pick 7. Got enough of these drop select equipment with pretty high equip costs that I don't mind a weapons vendor. Take that over Town Greeter. We have found no fixing yet. So I'm not so sure we actually are going to get to play this Choco at this point. We're just going to be green-white beats. Just an average little green-white deck here. Yeah, this is kind of the decision point for us here. We have to lock in because I can take the blue fixing to try to get Choco in here. Although, again, I didn't get any cheap Chocobos to get it to trigger the turn we play it. And we'd have to play a slower mana base. I'm just going to take the Fat Chocobo here and lock in the good aggro deck. This is a great top end for aggressive strategies, giving your board trample multiple turns in a row, and of course, a 4/4 and a 2/2 for 5. That's quite the stat line to get some damage in. So we'll lock in on green-white aggro. This card's just bad. Yeah, we'll just take the ramp card, but I'm probably not playing that either. Clash of the Icons here could work with summons, I guess. It's an on-color card, and we're low on removal, so maybe that works out too. Ooh, another cat, actually legit. Dwarven Castle Guard, perfectly legit. We want a really creature-heavy deck here for Renoa. And Fat Chocobo going wide. Take the Coral. And I've got a whole deck here. Literally every pick I take, I can just cut the weakest card and get this deck really streamlined. Still low on removal, and I really like the white Aura Sight as removal. It exiles any non-land permanent, and it's a mana rock for you to play your millions of 5 mana, 6 mana cards. I'm going to take the Aura Sight here, but this is a super good pack. The Fat Chocobo is great with Garnet. The Primal Garuda is great with Garnets. Vanille's great in general. This is a sick pack. There's also an incredible off-color card, the Primal Odin there. Disgusting card. If you've never won a game with Chapter 2 of this thing before, it is quite the feeling. It's really rude. Alright, I'm taking the Aura Sight here. I think that's the disciplined pick. Pick 2, White Mage's Staff is fine. This pack is the exact opposite of that pack 3 pick 1. There's literally one card I care about at all. Iridia's Return's a little too slow for what it's doing. The Ochu is incredibly filler. From Father to Son is just a depressing rare to open. Doesn't do anything in draft. White Mage's Staff it is. Pick 3, filler removal with Lionheart, a green-white dual land, solid protection spell, or the anti-flood Xanarkand. We draw this in the late game and we get like a 7/7 off of this instead of just a forest as the top deck in the late game. Yeah, I like Xanarkand here. Pick 4. No, a really good green-blue land for Choco. I've got a Wanderings to also play one island in this deck, and then that could help flip this in the late game into that absolute win condition vehicle there. Yeah, I'll take that. The card for just like the green-white aggro deck here would be You're Not Alone or Weapons Bender. Alright, I guess we are still splashing. Choco. Pick 5. The Gourmet works pretty well with all of the job select cards. Those make a token. Works well with the Fat Chocobos that make a token. Gourmet looks reasonable in this deck. Although, again, I don't love my removal right now, so we could take the Fate of the Suncrist over it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really scary balmy rares and stuff. I want to have a really good sweeter removal if I can. Pick 6, very filler green cards, so we get to take another piece of blue fixing. Pick 7, Goo Gardener to ramp in all these 5s. Does seem okay. We don't get to play Magitech Infantry, sadly. Paladin's Arms is fine. We don't have a lot of 3-mana cards on the curve right now. Plays well with the Vendor, plays well with the Cats. Just a solid creature for the cost. I do like Crystal's Chosen as a top-end card. I think that'd be okay in here with a tiny bit of ramp. Oh my god, we actually do get there with Infantry. Literal last possible opportunity. Pack 3, pick 8. This is the final pack that we see. Every pack we see from now on is a pack we've already looked at. That is really lucky. Pick 9. I like the greens with Choco, but I also have a Garnet, and I like Fat Chocobo with Garnet a lot. Cut some 5s here. I don't think I'm playing more ones than just the infantries. Probably not playing this Iridia's Return either, but you never know. Cut this cat thing. Maybe the Castle Guard, Wall of Omens, Town Breeder. Those are our 5/2s. This looks like a reasonable creature curve. We could lock in the deck like this. Got 4 lands in here. Is this 25 non-land cards? Okay, so I still have to cut a couple. Alright, I'm currently on essentially 18 creatures up top here, so Monk's Fist is probably the most filler of all of them. Maybe one of the Paladin's Arms. I don't want to cut down too much on the artifacts, though, for these cats. Make sure those are still awesome. And this would still be like 17 creatures, which is reasonable for an aggressive deck, and this deck looks pretty aggressive. And then I have to cut probably the Fight spell. This is a lot of fun. A lot of fun when we have one of our Fat Chocobos down, but when we don't, it's pretty bad. Prey Upon is a super weak removal spell. by modern limited standards. Having one of your creatures fight an opposing creature means you have to have something with pretty high power to actually clear out an important threat from your opponent. And it also needs high toughness for it to not be a really bad deal where your creature also dies. Chocobo Kick just way, way, way better, because even if you don't have enough power technically to kill whatever you're targeting, if you pick up a land, you can still kill it, and your creature's at no risk. Your creature takes no damage when you cast this. The other issue with fight spells is an issue of both spells like Chocobo Kick and fight spells like Clash of the Icons, which is that if your opponent has the removal spell to kill your creature at instant speed or put it back into your hand at instant speed in response to you casting this, they 2-for-1 you really hard. They counter your removal spell and kill your creature. So I think there's a lot of problems with this card, even if it is kind of fun with sagas. I don't think I would want to run it unless I fully got the Garnet Saga deck. We didn't quite get there here. We only have 3 sagas. We only have 3 summons. We didn't get the dream deck of like getting 2 or 3 of the 3-mana saga creatures, like a Fenrir uncommon and 2 of the Choco Mogs, and then also 3 5-mana ones, like 6+ sagas. We didn't really get there, so I'm just going to cut that, I think, for the final cut. Rely on our other 4 much better removal spells, and hop into the gameplay with this deck. All right, here we are on the play for game 1. This is an excellent curve out. We have infantry on 1, staff on 2, activate infantry on 3, play Moogle on 4. Beautiful hand. I am so dumb. We missed a point of damage for instinctually just playing post-combat White Mage's Staff. Dwarven Castle Guard. Annoying little monster. Luckily, both of our cards are 2 creatures worth of value off of 1 card. It's not the worst trade in the universe, and now I can just not attack with this infantry. I just move the staff to it later before I ever attack with that. Okay, Hektai is always annoying, but not really a problem. Goodbye to the plains. Green source is good. Would you like to double block a 2/2? No. Take your 2. Start taking some flying damage too, will ya? Here's a couple flyers, deliver Moogle immediately, and Dragoon's Lance next turn. Vane's Treachery from our opponent, kill our 3/2 flyer, but that's okay, we can just make our own. Play a Dragoon's Lance and slap a White Mage's Staff onto it. There's another 3/2 flyer for us. And then if they kill that, okay, I'll move this all to the other 1/1. And there's another 3/2 flyer. We'll just keep making 3/2 flyers for the rest of this game. They are black-white, which means they are very heavy on removal in this color pair. So I expect that is pretty likely to be the play pattern here for a while. Honestly, it might be better to have the White Mage's Staff still on one of these ground creatures, because I can attack in the sky even with just the 2/1, and then this way they have to do the double block or not there. Squall. Okay, well now I can't. But I can just kill Squall here, which is cool with me. Squall only triggers when he deals damage to me, yeah. So if Squall damages me, then they get like a bunch of cards, but Squall's not going to be damaging me. I'm not worried about it. So I put the White Mage's Staff on the 1/1 instead of the 2/1 because if they had the 2/1/1s up to block, I would much rather they trade here than trading here. But because they ended up making a play that made them want to attack with the 1/1, it made it a lot better to have the staff on the infantry, sadly, so that's awkward. Okay, Fat Chocobo is a great draw here because the reanimation on Squall is disgusting. So I'm not going to be getting attacks in on the ground. But the Fat Chocobo makes it so I have plenty to be blocking with against Squall's ability here. I still probably shouldn't have played the land here, just in case they have another Hack dies to make me discard the T-Rex. I just got a little distracted talking and playing at the same time. Happens more than you would think. Infantry's our weakest creature at this point. Or the White Mage's Staffed hero. They still don't have anything to actually reanimate. Oh no, they do. They have Castle Guard. If Squall hits me. But if Squall attacks, yeah, I was going to say, if Squall attacks, they have really low toughness over there. On blocks. So... 3 mana is all I need to play another card. Yeah, I'm probably supposed to Lance the Chocobo. If they have removal, they have removal. If they don't, this is so much better than not doing it. Okay, well... If they had literally no removal, I could have equipped both to Chocobo. Seems a little all-in for me over playing the next creature. The first equip is very fine, because then I can still play another spell that turn. The second one is where it gets pretty risky. They hit us with the instant speed removal there in response to my second equip. And I also don't play another creature. Okay, they get rid of flying, but they're dead on board unless they have the instant speed removal. If they had it last turn, they would have used it, so... I don't think they do. Man, if they do, I am gonna cry. Alright. Scary. Scary stuff, but we start things off 1-0, right? That was our first game. Okay. Game 2. Solid opener. We don't start till turn 3, but because we're on the play, that is super fine. Playing against a red deck, turn 1 Lunatic Pandora. I was a little concerned when I saw Mountain turn 1 play, but Lunatic Pandora doesn't do anything till late. It's just a 6 mana removal spell. Here's my Paladin's Arms to get us going. They will surveil 1 with the Pandora, probably looking for their second color. Yeah, mill an Adelbert there. I don't think they'd do that if they had the planes immediately. Yep, another red source. Play the Ifrit here. Discard a card, draw a card. Again, looking for the white sources for their Boros equipment deck. We're looking for any land off the top. You are not a land. So I suppose I'm on Wanderings here to lock in a Choco for next turn. I don't mind the trade for the Ifrit while they're still looking for pretty specific cards. They probably don't want to trade right now, but if they do, it's fine. They do want to trade, okay. Well, Wanderings doesn't give enough toughness to survive this trade anyway. There's no reason to cast it there. If they don't play a planes right now... Okay, I was going to say, if they didn't have the planes in hand off of that discard draw, I don't think they would ever take that trade. Because that'd be incredibly risky if they hadn't already drawn into the planes. It's gotta be the garden, right? Yeah. Land 5 is pretty sick. I think that leads me to wanting to play the Fat Chocobo, so I can get a Choco trigger the turn I play that. We know they have at least Lunatic Pandora to kill Choco with. They need 6 mana for that, though. But I would not be surprised if they have another removal spell in hand. Surveil 1. Keep it on top, alright. They've drawn gas here, and it is a Galacat, which is definitely gas. 3/3 Flying Vigilance. Good stuff. Here's Choco. Draw a card. Can't send in the Chocobo token, because if it's not exactly a land on top, then this just dies into their cat. Whereas the fat Chocobo gets to trade into it if they double block, which is a reasonable trade considering the fat Chocobo dies to its own ability soon enough. No blocks, take 4, fair. A little rough, we've only hit one white source all game, despite it being our one of our main colors in terms of how many sources we have, because that's locked us off of playing Choco and the infantry in the same turn. Here's the removal for Choco. If they have it, now is definitely the time. They don't have 6 mana for Pandora yet, though, so it's got to be a secondary removal spell. If they don't have it here, Weapons Vendor to then equip Choco with Ward will make it so Pandora would take them 7 mana to kill Choco. So we really ruin their onboard removal if they can't kill Choco here this turn. There's a Weapons Vendor of their own. 1 single mana up should not be able to kill Choco. Put the White Mage's Staff on the cat, obviously. Make an incredible flying threat. 4/4 Flying Vigilance, gain 1 every turn. Okay. No removal for Choco immediately makes me really want to do the Weapons Vendor thing here. Although I will need to spend removal on their flyer very soon. Where are the lands, though? It's been a little while, that's for sure. Not the worst trade in the world to just flunge Choco in here. They block with the cat and the vendor, we kill a cat. But it's probably better to not do that still. I want the lands, though, Arena. I will put that in hand. Choco's still done so much work for us, because without Choco, we wouldn't have drawn 2 extra cards here, and we would be like 5 turns away from a land. Instead of hopefully just 1 at this point. Here's where things get slightly awkward, because our fat Chocobo is going to sacrifice itself, so we don't have as easy of a Chocobo attack for the turn. But I definitely still need to be drawing my cards. The play might be to hold up the Fate of the Suncrest, attack in, and if they do go for the multi-block, we destroy the biggest blocker and kill everybody else without losing Choco. However, if they hold all their mana up, they could Lunatic Pandora our Paladin Arms and put Choco down to 3/5 stats at instant speed. 3/5 stats still survives the Vendor and the 1/1, so it has to be some weird combat trick they're holding up, in which case I could also ruin that with the Fate of the Suncrest. I guess if they have their own fate, they get to destroy our tapped Choco, but that's after it's already declared an attack, so I still draw the card. Okay, they play another cat, which means no Pandora for sure. Oh my holy draws. Land, please, I beggeth. Yeah, declare the Choco attack. I guess if they block with the entire board, I can kill everybody but their 1/1, but I do lose Choco. If I actually hit a land off Choco 1 time, and they block with everybody, I do get to kill the whole board. Period. Our Choco dies, but so does everything they have. Come on. Let's go. Okay, so decline to put it in hand. You may put 1 into your hand, then put any number of lands from among them onto the battlefield. So don't put it in hand and then put it on the board. Cool. No blocks, fair. Man, these land draws have been particularly painful because it does mean their crackbacks are super, super reasonable. I can't, like, play a flyer in another spell here because I can only cast one white card still. They're at 8. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just spend 5 and destroy the bigger cat when they go to combat. After Weapons Vendor's ability resolves. I think I have to discard one of my 5 drops and start double spelling. Probably one of the fat chocobos. Resolve that ability and then kill whichever has the equipment on it, because if I do this the other way around, then they can move the equipment after I blow it up. There is one card they could have to save it here. There's one hexproof trick, it's an uncommon. Thank goodness. We're just taking 3 this turn. Down to 9. So we're at 9, they're at 8. They could go land and Pandora away the Choco. And then we do need to double spell, getting ready for blocks. But I can double spell an artifact and a cat here, I suppose. I have to get the cat up to 4/4 because they have their own staff, though. Yeah, they do have the Pandora for Choco now. Okay, fair. Oh, they only have one artifact out now. Oh, that's a good draw. That makes the double block, or not the double block. That makes the block easier. It wasn't planned to be a double block till now. Now it's just cat double block. Well, I do have the 1-mana Paladin's Arms equip, so I only need 1 cat to do the block on their cat still. Even if they put the staff on it and play an artifact. Yeah, it's probably better just play 1 cat and get to 1-mana equip then. So we play that and a staff and equip arms for 1. Oh, right, yeah, because I didn't have a second artifact out, so it was definitely better to do it this way. This is the kind of game I've been talking about with these cats. Their double cat did a lot of damage to me, and now our cat is so viable here. 5/4 flying vigilance ward 1. It's not hard to make these just insane threats. Deceptively good flying cats from Final Fantasy here. Which one is this from? Final Fantasy V? Nice. Okay, they've got the removal for it, but they have to tap out for it. No artifact played. They just poke me for 1, and then I play another one and another spell. Oh, they poke me for 2 because they've got the 1-mana equip. Yeah, that's good. Go back up to 9. 2 mana to do what I want with if I want to put the Paladin's Arms on it again, which I do, which means I just play the infantry then instead. Okay, stop playing removal spells, please. Allow this cat to remain. Maybe I should have gone for delivery Moogle there. That would have been more mana efficient, and it still would have been a 3 toughness blocker, so unless they played another artifact, it would still have a good block here. Be a 5/3 instead of a 5/4. No vigilance, but I pick up a good card for later. Oh, man. The one-sided board wipe, the Nibelheim Aflame. And when they play it from grave, they draw a million cards. Pretty lucky I've got a high toughness card, but that was still pretty nasty. I'm going to spend full mana on the equips, and if I block here, the cat dies. If I don't block here, I die to Lightning Bolt to face. If they bonus sheet my my butt here. That's going to be really frustrating. It's pretty bad for me if I block or if I don't block. If they have lightning bolts, it was probably better for them to just kill this cat and then attack. So I don't think they have lightning bolts. There's no +3/+3 in red or white. There's +3/+1 in red. I've got enough cards to try to come ahead post board wipe here. I probably have to play it safe. Yeah, and I also have like the 5/4 flying draw card every turn. So they can do 2 damage to every creature for 7 from the grave and draw 4 cards. 3 damage to everything if they put the staff on vendor, which only costs them 1 mana to do. So only my 4 toughness or higher creatures are guaranteed to survive. So we just want to make one really juiced up creature, I guess. Oh god, where's their last card alongside the best red mythic? Ah, 3 creatures for the go wide. Staff onto weapons vendor. If they Nibelheim a Flame to kill my small Chocobo, they're killing all their 1/1s too. It's got to be better than Renoa, because Renoa is going to be Renoa and a 2/2. And a 2/2 is not a good blocker, but a 3/3 could be here. They're playing off the top, but they have staff onto weapons vendor, Nibelheim a Flame, draw 4, where we're left with a single fat Chocobo against 4 cards in their hand. So they have that no matter what they draw into. Because this card's insane. Pretty sure it's from the top 5 best performing cards in the set right now. Which makes sense. That looks like the line. Staff onto the vendor. Sending the 1/1s to try to get a kill on Fat Chocobo here with Nibelheim a Flame. I'm good on that. They still kind of have to do it, even if I don't block. Yeah, so I get to keep the Fat Chocobo. This way. Okay. Delivery Moogle can be 2 blockers. So I can cast this, play a blocker for 2, equip White Mage's Staff to Fat Chocobo for 3, and we're racing. This feels good. I mean, Renault is also 2 blockers, I guess. But White Mage's Staff seems like kind of the truth right now. Maybe it is still supposed to just be the flying equipment, though. Okay, those Nibelheim of Flame draws better be very good. Otherwise, they are dead in the sky next turn because they take 5 here, go to 5. With Paladin's Arms, I can hit them for 5 in the sky easily. My whole board's going to have Trample if they don't deal with Fat Chocobo. They needed to have drawn some very nice cards from that Nibelheim of Flame. We'll see what it is. There are some combinations of like 3 cards that could kill me here. If they have 2 removal spells and another equipment, or 2 removal spells and a combat trick, but that would be really unlikely. A reach blocker that also draws cards. Oh my god, and then a +3/+2 to put on the reach card if they play another land. Good god, so they just go land, 1 mana to put Warrior Sword on the reach card. Those are pretty good. You draw a card every time a trade is happening, and trades are happening very often at this point of the game. Nobody can not block. That was bold. They're dead to removal now. Actually, we have trample too. They might just be dead, period, because they did that. I go to 1. They block Fat Chocobo. But I have the mana to put Paladin's Arms on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 damage gets stopped, but the rest is trampled. That's 6. Yeah, that's a dead on board swing. We take those. Yeah, they block one of the 4s and take 7 elsewhere. Close game, but we could pull out the victory in the end here. And there's the concession from our opponents. 2-1, I think. Maybe 2-0. That was an incredibly long game. Yeah, 2-0 it is. Undefeated heading into game 3. Alright, here we are on the draw for game number 3. This hand is definitely slow on the draw. We're not doing anything till turn 3, but got some quality cards coming up. A couple Paladin's Arms and a Fat Chocobo. Pop this off. Mono white from our opponents so far. There's the Coral, the cat that can tap non-enchantments. Can't tap a Fat Chocobo. It's too thick for you. Monk's Fist. So they're stuck on 2 lands for now, but probably okay in an aggressive white deck like this. Naturally draw the swamp turn 3. Opponent keeps the monocolored 2-lander, gets rewarded. Couldn't be me. Actually, it is me pretty often. I'm not going to take this trade with Magitech Infantry coming up. I'm tempted, because we're definitely on the defensive here on the draw, but it's not likely to be worth it. Weapon vendor on 5 is kind of nice here. Oh boy. Well, we found our removal target, because that thing's going to get real big real fast. It's bigger every time anybody dies. And then this thing keeps coming back from grave, but they're kind of stuck on mana right now. They kept the 2-lander, they just drew the 3rd. They're not super likely to hit a land every draw, so the 1 mana that it costs to keep putting this back in hand, then the 3 to recast it, is kind of legit. So I don't actually mind the trade here, I think. Because that'll keep it off the board for a while. Cool. Ooh. Great draw. Now I don't have to use the Fate yet. I can use the more efficient removal while still expanding my board, which feels very worth it. And these trades are just good for me, and now we're on the aggressive, because we got the Fat Chocobo coming up to trample the whole board too. They do hit the 4th land. There's a trader, which also gives them a treasure. So now they've really got their mana working for them. Yeah, 4 toughness is annoying. Can still get another swing here with Paladin's Arms on the equip. Worst case scenario, trade down into the cat, which still isn't terrible. But it's probably still best to just get the Fat Chocobo out here. Pass. I'm not going to be sandbagging the land in my hand. I want to get closer to activating this and getting my insane vehicle. But sometimes there's an argument for that with Chocobos out. Stop. I don't like it when my opponents play relevant cards. That's my job. It's a 6 power, the Fat Chocobo. So they have to trade it into their reach card, or I kill both their creatures here. Kind of like the weapons vendor here. Like Fate on Gralha wouldn't be bad either, but seems pretty cool. Ooh. I don't think I want to play that as a land right now. Yeah, that's going to be a 7/7. Yeah, I'm not playing that as a land. Got them down to 11. They have hit all the mana they need now. Opponent has run out some premium uncommons. That side quest is really gross. It's a removal spell that gives you treasures every time you kill something, and when you have 3 treasures, you get a 5/6 that can give itself indestructible. This card is incredible. One of the, I don't know about mythic uncommons yet. It's still a little early to say, but it might be. Card is stupid good. Oh my god, this is so stupid with treasure tokens. Good grief. I mean, yeah, taking that into account, I'm killing this right now. And then just getting the Paladin's Arms attack in. So they can't be drawing cards off all their treasures, too. And every time they trade on blocks. Make this a 4/3, trade into the trader. They can't trade with Cat. Sure. They could sack all their treasure to tap it, but then they're a lot farther away from getting the 5/6. And they only get treasures off on the mark during their turn, I believe? Yeah. So they don't get the treasure there. Black Mage's Rod. Pick up their Shambler. White Mage's Staff. Ping me for 1. They have no reach anymore. Oh, I need another blue source to transform this. Well, shoot. What am I doing in that case? I guess I'm just going to play as Anarchand. So if I play a single flyer, they can keep tapping it with this thing. So let's just play like a really big ground creature and start, you know, swinging with somebody on the ground each turn. Trampler's legit too. Trampler or the Xanarkand creature are both gigantic. I guess the dinosaur is big enough that I could lead with the dinosaur, and, you know, the later in the game that I play Xanarkand, the bigger it is, technically. Oh, wow. I was not even going to attack with weapons vendors. That's very okay with me. I'm very happy to see them lose a treasure here, so that they're much less likely to draw into something that will get them to the point where they can flip the 5/6 out. They do double block. Yeah, we take those all day long. All right, feels like our opponent's getting desperate here. We're getting some good trades in our favor, whittling down this board. Basically, they just have to draw really well if they're going to win this game at this point. On board, we're very far ahead. Treachery's a great start to the draws. That's going to give them another treasure. They're back at 2 out of 3. Had they not activated Coral last turn, they would have the 5/6 here, and we'd actually be in a really rough spot off of that. So that's kind of what I was talking about when I was saying some desperate moves from our opponent. If I play the cats, I can equip both of the Paladin's Arms here, which is pretty legit. There's the concession from our opponents. We are 3-0, undefeated all the way into at least a 50-50 run here, even if I lose every game from now on. Excellent start to the draft. All right, here we are. on the draw for game number 4. We have some power in this opening hand if we can curve out and get it all out. I kind of want to lead with White Mage's Staff. Garnet doesn't matter until the Fat Chocobo's out. So I could lead with the Staff and then play Garnet next turn, so if they want to just throw a cheap removal spell at something, they're not killing our better card for now. And then I get to play my tap land turn 3, which is great. Okay. Would you like to removal spell a little Cleric? No. Okay. No removal spell bait. What's awkward here is if I don't draw another card I can play this turn. Okay, that was a great draw. I was going to say I'm going to have to play Choco before the Fat Chocobo, which is something I basically never want to do. Because it leaves it susceptible to dying to removal before it's drawn us at least one card of value. Magitech Infantry, a beautiful draw. Part of the flexibility of the card, as I've said, it's your 1-drop curving out, it's your 1-drop and 3-drop curving out, but it's also a 4-drop if you just draw it on turn 4. 4 mana for 2/2/1s is just like the going rate. Like, that's a reasonable card. Five, 4 blockers, moderately annoying for our wide board here. Wow, alright. Well, now we're just not getting in, are we? This reanimates a 4 mana or less card. These are both 5, so Phoenix Down can't reanimate anything here. Just play Choco and attack with a Fat Chocobo. They have no blocks for it. If I knew I had like a land on top, then I could also attack with the Chocobo token as a 4-power creature, but I can't guarantee that, so I won't. Choco only triggers once, even if I attack with 2 birds, so it's not worth like chump attacking here for another trigger. Ooh, that's got to be better in my hand, is it not? I mean, it's an astronomically large creature. Alright, goodbye Renoa. That has a big booty. So that's going to hold us off. A little 2/1 Cactus will not. Paladin's Arms. Well, we get a attack in with our bird token now. Trade off into somebody here. Trades are somewhat profitable for our opponent, but attacking with Chocobos is profitable for us, so we will go for the trade here. They could double block Sabotender and the 1/1. They only draw 1 card, though. That's still good work from Graha. This is going to be a 5-power flyer. If I equip it up with the Paladin's Arms, so I can send it into the reach creature, which is good. Reanimate a Cactus. Cute. Another Phoenix Down. Reanimate a Cactus again later. Heyo. Heyo indeed. Wow. 8 mana. 4 mana to equip Paladin's Arms right now. Choco's a 4/5. Make it a 6/6. 6/6 on the attack only dies if they double block with Sandworm and Sarah. That's profitable. That is 100% profitable. Okay. Even if I make it a 7/7, it'll still die to Sandworm and Sarah, so I think I just go 6/6 here. Well, I guess they could go Sandworm and Graha, but then I get to kill Graha. I don't get to kill both unless I make it 9 power. That's not going to happen. All right, so it's probably just going to 1-for-1 trade into Graha here, which is fine, because if I trade into Graha, they don't draw a card this turn. Graha doesn't trigger off himself. Oh, Sandworm and Graha. Okay. Goodbye, Graha. Don't worry about that anymore. First strike the Sandworm. Yeah. I guess first strike trip will get me there. Yep. Not the end of the world. Still drew a good chunk of cards here. And now we just keep getting the cat in the sky. Probably have to play Renoa instead of Xanarkand next turn so that I can attack with Renoa, like chump attack with her instead of just a million damage in the sky. If I could draw into another fat Chocobo, Renoa is going to be just insta-lethal with how wide this board is. Giving somebody like +6/+6 and trample. Okay. So I need 6 power on the flyer, ideally. I don't have the mana to re-equip White Mage's staff to get 6 power. And play another card this turn. But if I go 6 power, they have nothing in hand, they have no good blocks here. They just double block it, kill both. Yeah, this is worth it. I feel like this having a great adventure might be a downside sometimes, just because of just the human brain, where I'm like, it's so possible I should have just been playing this as a land in multiple of these games, because I still haven't cast the adventure, because I've had more relevant things to do for so long. But I guess now that I've equipped everything onto the Galacat, I don't have to spend any mana on that next turn, so now I can finally do something else. But we'll see. I have a hardy life total, and I don't want to really do any trades with the Graha on board, so I would just take that if they send the worm in. How does Sarah flip, by the way? If you control 2 or more other legendaries, you may transform her. Okay. Look at me drawing cards other than Xanarkand I want to play again. This is funny. Alright. Yeah, the double block works the same. We would kill both. We send in. Awesome. Kaboop. They draw 1. Trample's gotta be better. Well, it actually might not be better at this point, because they only have like 2 blockers. So just something that's so big it's a forced chump is also pretty good. Lightning. Okay, she doesn't do too much on defensive. She's like purely an aggro card. Although, nope, they can't flip Sarah because they lost their other legend. Since they with a flipped Sarah, she gets to like 7 power here, 7 power first strike. Pretty annoying. Five for Noah. I can spend 4 and move a Paladin's Arms and still do that. They have 4 first striking power. They're not drawing a card whenever somebody dies anymore. So just see what the T-Rex are kills. Well, I guess the Renoa attack with this many creatures on board with Trample is probably just better to send it next turn. 7 toughness. kill it with these two. They could kill it with these two. 8 power. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 toughness total. No, I kill at least 2 creatures with this. Just send it. We just need to whittle this board down. Okay. They have 2 creatures left. One's going to sack itself soon-ish. I guess I just Angelo Cannon Garnet up to be at like 40 life or something. Close. Be at like 35 right now. If I equip a bunch of stuff to Garnet, I could go up to like 40 if I really want. They just top deck Tifa's Limit Break. They still don't win if they did, but it would not be good. Choco Comet could also be bad. If they could do X equals 11, it'd be 22 now. Nope, Thunder Magic it is, sure. Well, here's my blocker for lightning. Just make sure I have that. And then they have a 3 toughness blocker. Three power creature, 3 power creature. Gain life, stay super far ahead on board. They need to draw something super crazy. Go to 11. Chocomog sacks itself next turn. Equipment on the lightning. Aerith Rescue Mission, 3 1/1s. Okay, that actually is. That is blocks for days. 4 power first striker. I need to go to 5 toughness to attack with somebody here. Is there any way to make... All my other creatures are like 2 toughness, 1 toughness naturally. 1, 2 equipment. I can make that 4 toughness. That's not enough. I could make Garnet 5 toughness if I have enough mana, which I don't think I do. 3 plus 8, 11, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I guess I do. Kill 2 1/1s here, and then they lose Chocomog, and they're playing off the top again. I guess I kill Chocomog in a 1/1, since they have to sack that next turn anyway. Or that. That works too. Wipe the board. 1 lightning and a dream for our opponent. Yep, and now lightning has to jump to 12/12. I mean, props to our opponent. They really stuck that one out. Kept me scared, because lightning has an explosive ability that could randomly kill me out of nowhere if they have like the Choco Comet for X damage to my face or something. And again, the first strike makes the attacks really difficult into her, and the lifelink buying them a lot of time. So a single lightning was a little bit of an army of 1 there for sure, buying our opponent a lot of time, but not enough. We were just forcing chumps turn over turn for such a long time that we stay ahead there and find the victory. We are now 4-0, undefeated all the way into a positive record this time around. On the play here, not playing anything till turn 4 is really slow. I mean, on the play speeds it up, but nothing till turn 4 is really slow. But we've got pretty good mana. I have 2 removal spells if they have a really aggressive opener. I do not like starting games down cards, so I will keep the awkward looking hand and draw into perfection. This would have been a snap keep if there was a Dragoon's Lance in it, so I'm really happy to draw that. That card works really well with the Weapons Vendor late game too. Playing against another black-white deck here. Magitech Infantry is not a bad draw at all. However, we've drawn 0 lands in our first couple draws. So despite being a 3-land hand initially, we could actually get mana screwed here if we miss on 3 land draws in a row. Although if I do miss, I have a play. If they don't kill Magitech Infantry, I can just get another one. I would much rather just hit the land, though. Didn't hit the land, but found a better play than activating Infantry right now, which is to play a 3/3 Flying Vigilance. Pretty nasty. I think I'm still just going to activate Infantry here. The reason is, if this Infantry dies, the cat's going to go to just a 1/3 Flying Vigilance. I have no other artifacts in my hand, so it does feel somewhat risky here. Like, if I tap out for that and then they just do something that kills my 1/1, that would be really sad. Alright, so they kill my 2/1 flyer, but that's fine, because I have the weapons vendor to make sure this lance stays relevant. And these being 2/1s means they attack into the guy as well. Activating the infantry also makes it statistically more likely to hit another land, because I just pulled another non-land card out of my deck, but we're having very bad luck on the land draws. That was our 4th draw in a row, I think, with no land off the top. 4 for 4 on spells instead of lands. There's the Aura Sight for the cats. Our opponent has way more mana than us now between the Blitzball and the Aura Sight. There's a land 4 fashionably late, but we're not dead or anything here. Just need them to really not hit us with the Ninja Blades. I gotta hold these blockers up. Weapons vendor draws a card, finds another spell, a non-land card. Technically this one does pull a land out of the deck, but we would still really, really like to just hit our land drop for turn next turn. Whenever a creature opponent controls dies, put +++ from counters on it equal to that creature's power. Well, that sucks, but I can't not block Ninja's Blades, because then they draw a card, discard a card, and shoot us in the face. It's a really, really flexible card. I've got multiple removal spells for Vincent, so that should be fine. Delivery Moogle is honestly way worse for us than Vincent Valentine, because it is a relevant flyer that's also drawing them a card. Missed a land drop, so I don't get to Fate the Vincent until it attacks, in which case they have mana untapped, so if they have the hexproof trick, we will lose this game. Okay, they go all in on Vincent here. They've got the Hexproof trick. RIP, because I couldn't hit the mana to kill it while they were tapped out. The Hexproof trick is an uncommon, though. Oh, I had to do this in response? I didn't even know it had that bonus effect. Wow. That was a big punt. I've never actually played against Flipped Vincent before. I didn't know that line of text existed. That might lose us the game. That's really frustrating. I could have killed it without them reanimating it, but it has... Oh, but it has 9 lines of text. I didn't know the last 2. God dang it, man. And we still don't hit land 5. Comedy. Well, God, that was such a punt. And he's just a 2/2 now until they draw more removal, at least. Now they're hitting me with a 4/4 every turn. I'm almost so desperate for mana, I think I have to cast the Wanderings, maybe? I don't know. They are at 12. I can hit for 4 a turn in the sky. If I get this down and then just put flying on it. Does, like, theoretically outrace them here. Oh, right. They have Lunatic Pandora. So they could just tap out to blow this up and make Vincent a little bigger. Send 5, pass. Or I guess 9 because they activate the armor. Yeah, I forgot about Lunatic Pandora. That's deadly if we double punt here. Like, if they go for the Lunatic Pandora and then instantly flip Vincent on the attack. Just got us here. Alright, whatever. I still have a tiny chance, but that punt's really irritating. I'm just gonna move on. My head's not in the game there. Here we are for game 6. Pretty horrible opening hand. Our first relevant play, our first proactive play is 6 mana. And we're on the draw. But we have all of our colors and multiple removal spells. There's the best one drop in the format. Hello, Saz's Chocobo. Got the 3 mana removal for that, which will definitely be the play. I took a little break between games, but I'm still so frustrated with how easily winnable last game was if I just used the removal at the right time. I didn't know Vincent's back half had extra text. They would have had, like, literally no threats. Okay. I mean, I definitely have to just kill this. A good old 1 mana, 6/7 Sauce's Chocobo. It's only going to get up to 3/4 this game. I might kill it while they're tapped out. There's not a lot of cards that they would want to just cast and buff the Chocobo with right now, instead of just playing like another creature. But if they had anything that protects it, they would definitely want to cast that. So I'm just going to kill it here. I think we're more likely to get punished for waiting until their mana's untapped than rewarded. Because again, we're only rewarded if they like play like a non-job select equipment and spend a bunch of mana putting it on Chocobo, which is just so unlikely. Them having like the hexproof trick is also unlikely, but not as unlikely as the alternative. I think I have enough removal in this hand with multiple great high mana value cards to want to just play this primarily as a mana rock. Like, I don't care too much about exiling the Death Toucher. It will make it so the Death Toucher doesn't train one of my big tramplers, which is definitely good. But this is mostly because I really need to make sure I'm casting my good spells next turn. I wouldn't do that if I didn't also have the Fate of the Suncrist in hand. At that point, I would just play Paladin's Arms. But since I also have another piece of removal, I want to make sure I've got mana here. It's a good thing I did, because we are not drawing lands there. Renoa into Fat Chocobo is quite a lot of damage pretty quick. Flip this race in our favor if they don't have the removal for Renoa. And if they do, she's one of our cards that makes multiple creatures off the one spell, so it's not the absolute end of the world. This card is really gross in a long game. Longer the game goes on, yeah, the better that gets. That's 2 creatures in their grave now. 6 mana for 2 2/2s. Not the greatest, but the fact that it was tacked onto a card that already got them 2 2/2s is pretty wild. Okay, this is going to be 2 games in a row where I cannot draw lands. I have the Wanderings, and this is actually a much more serviceable board state to do so, I would say. Because I actually get some value out of the combat trick aspect of it as well. So we get to cast a spell that's primarily for getting a land, whereas they have to cast just a full-on combat trick here. That's very funny. Still just trade. I guess I technically should have waited till they chose where to put the +1/+1 counter. Just in case they have another combat trick in hand, because now they could put a +1/+1 counter on the other one to deal extra damage, and then combat trick this one so that it lives. Tifa. Potentially nightmarish, but probably fine at 14 here. They've already played their land ramp. They've got 6 lands on board. Yeah, unless they have like the search for 2 lands kind of thing. They have no equipment on board or anything. Yeah, we're fine. I'm almost tempted to play Xanarkand here. Like a 5/5 isn't the greatest on this board, but then I get to play land for turn, right? I put this on the adventure, then I play land for turn, and it gets me closer to the flying vehicle. And a flyer is going to be my best way to get through a million 2/2s on the ground, which they're working towards. Yeah, I'll actually go for land for turn here. Oh, it's a 6/6, not a 5/5. Hex death, please. Oh, it doesn't mill when it enters. It just gains 3. Okay, I got that mixed up with the Shinra reinforcements that mills 3 and gains 3. I was like, please don't mill more creatures. Please don't mill more creatures. 1 card in their hand. Yeah, they just pass. 2, 3, 4. 7 mana for this. Got the mana for it. Off of playing the plains. Oh, it's 1 less for each town. I've got a couple towns. So it doesn't have haste. Oh, it says if I hover. Cost modified to 5 mana. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then also that. I have 2 mana to spend on whatever I want. I have nothing that I can do for only 2 mana. Unless I want to cycle a T-Rexar. So I guess I just pass. Hold up my Fate of the Suncrist if something weird happens. But then we're just going to keep casting a bunch of blockers every turn while sending in the flyer. Angelo crewing Balam Garden every turn. That is an adorable image, and while it doesn't make sense for a dog to be crewing it, they are both from the same game, so it's not the biggest flavor fail. Ooh, bunch of flyers here. Helps us speed up the clock. But I do need to keep myself defended right now, I think, as the #1 priority this turn, being at 11. I'd like to hold up a Fate for 3 if I can, which would be Moogle Pass. That's not super well defended then, is it? A mana off from playing Fat Chocobo and a 3-drop in 1 turn. Maybe I just tap out for the T-Rexar on this turn. Honestly, doesn't seem bad. Save the 5 and the 3s to be able to double spell with those if I hit a land. Drop a land. Tifa's a 2/2. They're still on 2 2/2s from Final Days, luckily. 1 final card in their hand. Quistis, that's a very good one. Recast any instant or sorcery from a grave, so a removal spell here, you have Fate. Blow up our Balam Garden, I guess. Annoying, but we'll just cast all of our other flyers then. And went off those instead. Alright, it's flying time. What is the maximum the amount of flyers we can do efficiently here. Delivery Moogle plus the 2 mana, 2/1 flyer, and then I have 2 mana left over for absolutely nothing. So I get this Delivery Moogle and the cat, and then save the 2 mana, 2/1 flyer for later. Go Flyers, go! I've been saying a lot. A little bit of a back to basics set in terms of evasive threats just being good. Flyers have been great in this draft format. Oh my god, Lance on the 6/6 here could go pretty hard. I guess Lance on the T-Rex goes slightly harder. They're gonna go for 3 2/2s here. 3 2/2s it is. Another White Mage's Staff. I can go for a 2-turn kill if I put Lance onto the T-Rex. Can hit for 6 regardless. If I hit for 6, they're down to 14. 6 plus 6 is 12. I can go for a 2-turn kill either way, because I can put multiple equipment on the T-Rex to get it up to 14 damage next turn. So because I can go for the kill either way, we just go for the kill in the safest way possible, which is... I think I still have to play the Lance this turn. So I only have to spend the 4 to put it on the T-Rex. But then I can still keep the 3 up for the Fate and play more blockers instead. And keep the T-Rex up as a blocker this turn. Yeah, and then next turn we can move everything around for lethal. Another final days. So if the game goes long, we lose. But they only have one other card in their hand, and if it isn't removal for one of our flyers, we have a lethal swing next turn. Now I have a lethal swing next turn on the ground too. They get a +1/+1 counter and a buff on Tifa here. Fairly sure off of Fate of the Suncrest to save one of our creatures, we can still make sure we just lethal them on the crackback. Counter on that one, trying to kill our flying cats, so we'll kill that one to keep the flying cat. And there's the concession from our opponent, we can just attack for 14. With some very simple re-equips, and that is 5-1 now. We are guaranteed in the money out of this draft. Alright, here we are on the play for game a lot. Start off with our Magitech Infantry. That'll be our 3-drop as well. You really hate to see it. When you only have 2 copies of Infantry, the second Infantry is the worst draw on the deck, so hate that 1 in 33 chance of drawing it that turn. Brutal. And then the 1/3 from our opponent. Frustrating. Just blanks the infantries. Well, this is a really rough start. We're pretty likely to end up just playing this as a tap land at this rate. Probably should have just played it last turn. Unless I top deck a land every single turn, I'm gonna have to play this soon. There's the Ifrit. Card a card, draw a card. or a site for us. And we didn't draw land, so I will have to play this as land for turn. Meg Pixie, that card is super good. Suplex and infantry, that's fine. And weapons vendors, the draw. By Orsight here, I have Fat Chocobo mana next turn, which is definitely nice. And I don't like the Pixie. It's going to hit me for 2 every turn. It's going to keep surveilling and setting up their draws. I feel like it's reasonable to kill the Pixie. I've got a backup removal spell for another threat. They play a bomb. And this gives me the mana to play either of my 5 mana plays, Vendor plus Equip, or just Fat Chocobo next turn. Make one very big Emperor of Palamecia, which I will definitely kill soon. It's mana for their non-creature spells. Already got 5. I have to spend 5 mana to kill it right now. Probably not worth it. But I will kill it when it's tapped for 3. Because I could do that and equip a staff. Something else like that. Blazing Bomb. So any 4 mana or greater non-creature spells they cast are now really good. They trigger all 3 of these cards for a +1/+1 counter. And there it is. That's filthy. Astronomically large board. Down to 14. Play a weapons vendor and blow up the Emperor in the same turn. Not bad. Renoa's not a bad draw. This Blazing Bomb gets to blow up my weapons vendor, so I'm okay with trading Chocobo into it to stop it from sacking and killing the vendor. Yep, so we get free damage there because they want to save that to kill vendor instead. Probably some bounce spell here for the Chocobo. Okay, the flashback on Laughing Mad is not good for me because it's a 4 mana spell again. But the front half is fine. They do bomb the vendor. Come on, land. Land would not have been bad at all there. Because then I could play Renoa and equip White Mage's Staff, and it would be a landfall trigger, so the Choco would be attacking as 4. I'm going to play Renoa. I'm going to go wide here. So they're going to flashback, have a 3/5 unblockable Sahagin. Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum. Well, that's depressing. Angelo's waiting for his owner forever, but she's stuck in the Summoner's Sanctum. Really turning Angelo into Hachiko there, aren't we? That is evil. Oh, I can just fly right over now. I like flying. I like trample too. T-Rex Star would be a fine play as well. But I like the go wide stuff to play around 1-for-1 removal, like Stuck in Summoner Sanctum style cards. Yep. That's fine. Pull out a 1/1 removal spell. We also got them to spend less than 4 on that Thunder Magic, which is decent too. That means no counter on Soggen. Is this an insta-win card? Not exactly, but it's really good. 4/4 flying haste. If I cast 2 spells in 1 turn, they draw a card. Okay. Not the biggest nightmare I've ever received from the bonus sheet, but it's not good for me at all. It does kill me quite quickly, so I need to get some considerable crackbacks here, preferably involving some life gain, so I don't mind Garnet to start re-equipping everything to Garnet soon over the T-Rexar. I could play both, couldn't I? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I'm 1 mana off. Ugh. Yeah, I'm gonna go for the life gain here. I mean, T-Rexar is 3 life gain, but Garnet sets to outrace just via life gain over time. Removal and a threat off 1 card is always nasty. Go to 7. Next turn I can hit them for 8 in the sky with T-Rexar. It's 4 to give it +1/+0 flying, and 3 to put a +1/+1 counter on it with Wanderings, or 3 to give it +1/+1 with the staff. It's not lethal in 2 swings. I guess it might be with the go wide. One flying T-Rex to lock in all that damage, and then as long as 1 damage gets in on the ground, it's lethal. We need them to have no more burn at this point, though. They have played a lot of interaction. Okay, that might work. 1 more blocker here. It's gonna be really close. Their last card in their hand's a bounce spell. They win this, I think. If I attack all... Yeah, they have the 3/5. They just block the T-Rex with the 3/5 if I don't give it flying. So I have to go for 8 damage in the sky, 1 on the ground, and they have to have no interaction for this to work. I die next turn, period, because they send 4 in the sky. I have no flying blockers because I only have flying during my turn. So 4 in the sky and 4 unblockable by recasting either of these. So I have to kill them right now. I have to go for it. And so this card just has to be a dud. Hello? Okay, I'm like, I need to re-equip this arena. Block 3 things on the ground, so block, block, block. 7, 8 damage. Make it 9 off Wanderings. Or in case this is Syncopate, I actually move this. Okay. Oh, Terrifying game, but a victory in the end. That is 6-1. We would be 7-0 right now if I knew the set a little bit better. That Vincent's punt was brutal stuff there. Forgot that final couple lines of text on that rare, but 6-1 is still a really good record. We have 2 chances here, 2 rounds in the chamber to get one last victory. So time to head into that final boss with 2 lives at our disposal. All right, here we are for our first shot at the final boss. Hopefully the first and only run that it takes, but we'll see. We've got a very solid opening hand. We're on the draw here, so our opponent gets that play draw advantage. But we've got a curve out. We have Dragoon's Lance into Paladin's Arms into Weapons Vendor. We'll get rid of the Wanderings here. I think this hand wants to just... I mean, it definitely wants to just naturally draw a land. But I think it has time to naturally draw 1 land before Vendor that we can risk the getting rid of the ramp. Because it's like, even if I miss the land drops, I'm not going to spend the turn on Wanderings over just playing another Paladin's Arms, most likely. We hit the land. It being a tap land is certainly awkward, but it is reasonable here because we have 2 3-mana plays. I can just play 2 Paladin's Arms in a row. But there's the untapped land, so I can still just go Weapons Vendor on 4. That said, it still might not be the worst to just play 2 Paladin's Arms in a row, because if we play Weapons Vendor on turn 5, it's a very natural way to use all of your mana, because then we can get the 1 mana re-equip, put one of our Paladin's Arms onto the flyer, or if they kill the flyer, we can move the flying to one of the Paladin's Arms creatures, and that'll work well too. We are playing against Sultai. This is the scariest bomb ramp kind of strategy. In terms of synergy stuff, they have a lot of self-mill, flashback cards, and graveyard recursion. There are cards that care about the number of permanents in your grave that can get pretty nasty late game. There's a lot of flashback spells they can mill as well. Just a lot of good ways to get value off milling yourself. So that's the synergy stuff I'm worried about, but they're also the color trio with the most, splashiest big rares and stuff. Like there's Atroxa on the bonus sheet, which is insane. Now I have another 5-drop. I'm definitely just playing Paladin's Arms in the tap land this turn. So I know I have all untapped mana next turn to play whatever I want between these 2. Either of them a great way to use all 5 of my mana. We're down to 16. Beautiful. Here's Charlayan. Is this a Final Fantasy XIV location? I gotta get back on that game. It is. It is. I don't remember that. I feel like I might not have made it there. Unless there is one of the starting places that looks kind of like that. But I think it was called something else. But it's got somewhat similar architecture. Like, that looks really cool. Summon Shiva. Well, there's only 1 non-ward creature, so that's the one that's going to get tapped here. 16 to 15. Renoa does big damage if they don't blow her up immediately, but then I hit for nothing this turn. I think I'd rather go Weapons Vendor on it. It's immediate damage, and I care less if they follow it up with removal this turn. Four-turn clock. They could pay a mana to stun the Paladin's Arms creature now, but then I can go Renoa plus move the flying over again. Oh, they're going to stun a blocker. They're trying to race here. They have 7 power on board. That is significant, but Shiva does sacrifice herself next turn, so no power from that next turn. Does that just be 3 power left if they don't play another creature right now? Shiva draws a card for each tapped creature we control next turn, so I would like to not attack unless it's super profitable. But I mean, 4 damage in the sky, probably worth it. Oh, hey, Choco. Very, very cool. But Renoa's probably better. We are likely in a position to be going for immediate damage. Move to combat. Okay, so this is going to be instant speed removal. They have a 1/1 and a 2/3 left after this. I think I can afford to move equipment to the vendor then. So whichever one of the two they kill, I still hit them. Oh, kill that before the trigger? Sure, I can still get in the sky then. Okay. I am letting them draw 2 off Shiva, which is not the loveliest. But at 12 life, 4 damage is big. I could play a 7/7. 7/7 is like literally, if they don't have the removal spell, I give it flying and they're dead. But Renoa is also they're dead if they don't have the removal. And she's better if they do, because if they do have the removal, they just kill Renoa. And I still have a 1/1 off of her at least. Yeah, Renoa works functionally the same. Like, if she doesn't die, they're dead. So better to go a little wide with it. I like that there's a lot of ways to give things flying in the set, like Dragoon's Lance, and there's like a Saga that gives +1/+0 and flying to some stuff, because then you can like live the dream and send your chocobos into the sky, like they've always dreamed of. Okay, they do have the removal to not die this turn. But they're at 10, I hit them for 4. This is still significant amounts of damage. I don't really want to chocobo kick anybody right now. I guess if I do, they have a single 1/1 up on blocks, and I can get some very reasonable ground attacks too. And speaking of reasonable ground attacks, maybe I just do it anyway to whittle down their board. Lose a 3/2 for a 2/3. No, I think I hold Chocobo Kick. There's too many just like, oops, I lose bombs to not keep a Chocobo Kick for later. But yeah, I'll whittle down one ground blocker. I think that part is fine. I like Choco's ability better, but I get to play my land for turn if I just make the 7/7. And it is a one-shot kill. That's goodbye to Choco, because we're trying to just find insta-lethal this turn at this point. So keep the removal to help do that. If I Choco kick the Marlboro, they can chump their removal spell the hero. Take 2. I mean, they basically just need the removal here. On this token. Okay, yeah, there's the concession. I think it's best to do it this way. This is definitely way better than using Chocobo Kick with the 7/7, because then if they have like the 2-mana bounce a creature, they bounce the 7/7 and survive that turn, because Marlboro stays, they take 4, but I can't get them on the ground. There's a lot of little intricacies to that I'm probably not thinking of exactly right, but that's definitely the better way to do it. And they just didn't have whatever kind of removal they needed, I guess. So that is 7-1. Slight bummer, slight stain on this draft is definitely that Vincent misplay. I think this could have definitely been 7-0. The way that game played out with the Vincent, that card was miles and miles ahead of everything else they had on their board. If we had just dealt with the Vincent permanently, we had other removal spells to use on their other cards and wouldn't be worried about the gigantic lifelinker. And yeah, that was a bummer. I'm gonna be bummed about that for the rest of the day, but that's just how I am. I hate making misplays like that. Try to do the best I can during the gameplay here for you all, and try to get better at the game so that when events like the upcoming Arena Direct next weekend come up, I play as best as possible and win as many Final Fantasy collector booster boxes as possible. So I do have internal pain when I make a major misplay like that, but it's the kind of thing that's like, yeah, I just hadn't played against Vincent that much. I just forgot what a couple lines of text on the card were. It's the kind of thing that it's good that it hurts it sucks that it hurts, but in a sense, it's good that it hurts too, because the fact that I am so annoyed by it, so saddened by it, so angered by it, whatever negative emotion you want to say, does mean I won't forget it in the future. I will remember how Vincent works and make sure to kill him before he flips in the future. So there is a silver lining to that painful misplay. We got a misplay in a game that cost us the game in a draft that we got 7 wins anyway. So by getting that misplay out of the way here, we don't make that misplay in a draft where we're 5-2 and then it's game 8 and I make that misplay and lose that game and now I'm out of the draft. So it's nice we got the misplay in a draft where we got 7 wins anyway, so that was pretty sweet. Yeah, this deck was awesome. There's not a ton to say about it. We had a bunch of great rares here. We got a win off of Choco. We got a win off of Balam Garden. We got a couple wins that had that big hero token on the board where it was relevant. I think this was the most indirect of the wins, I think, were the wins that we got with the big hero token, because we also had pretty big boards outside of the hero in the games that we won with Sanarkand. But yeah, they were all really, really awesome rares, so we had some high card quality with this deck. We had some great interaction. The Aura Sights, the Fates, and the Chocobo kick. Could have used like one more removal spell, would have been pretty decent. Biggest underperformer, probably like Prisha's Wanderings here. This deck's pretty aggressive, so we ended up having this in our hand a lot when we were curving out and trying to get damage in, and that's where it plays really awkwardly, because if you're aggressive and you're trying to get damage in before your opponent stabilizes and plays a bunch of big late game plays, it's really hard to justify spending the turn on casting a ramp spell like this instead of playing another cat or another Paladin's Arms or something. So this did feel like it was stuck in our hand quite a few of those games. Now, sometimes we did cast it and it was decently helpful, but I do think the more aggressive your deck is, the worse this card is, and it was a little awkward here today. But yeah, again, still not horrible. It was relevant sometimes. It's just the only card that I'm looking at here that I would say maybe underperformed expectations a little bit. I suppose Garnet underperformed a tiny bit. We never did the thing of keeping fat chocobos around longer with her. Part of that was self-imposed a little bit. Like there was a game that we had her and a fat chocobo, and we just still traded the fat chocobo off aggressively, which is like, what are you gonna do? I just wanted to get damage in there. It is what it is. But another part of that was, her just dying to removal a lot as happens. Yeah, great deck. Happy with it. Great run. Not much else to say outside of that. That is going to be another trophy run in the Final Fantasy drafts. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.